To supervise is to look over, to watch over in a position of authority. He supervised the project, means he had control of the project, and he was the boss. And we went to him as the supervisor, or to her, for instructions. To supplant is to take the place of, very good word. One thing supplants another thing in the public attention. That is, soon Bush will be president, presumably, and other stories will supplant that story in our interest and become the front page stories. Most interesting, it seems to me, only a year ago we were all very worried. Some people thought the world was going to end because of Y2K. How quickly this story was supplanted in our interest, so that I even had trouble thinking, Y2K? What was it? Y2K? What? Perfect example for me, at least, of how fickle and how superficial our attention span and interest is. Surge, rise up. The anger surged in him when he heard this, rose up quickly. Surly, similar to sullen. He is surly in his manners, very unpleasant to be around. Sullen, surly, similar though not identical. Surmise is to guess. I surmise that, similar to conjecture. We did that a long time ago. Noun also, a conjecture, a surmise. But these are simply more elegant words to mean guess. A surplus is an excess. A surplus of rice this year means that the prices of rice will be very low. There's so much of it. Surreptitious, good. Secretive. He was surreptitious in his behavior, that is, sneaking around behind our backs. But he can laugh in a surreptitious manner too, that is, no one sees him. Secretive. Survival, of course, to survive, the survival of the human race is always questionable because of the presence of nuclear weapons and the proliferation, proliferation of nuclear weapons is a huge danger to the survival of our race, of our species. Suspense, people usually mean it, there is still some suspense about who will be the new American president. That is, it's still in doubt, and we wonder. A suspense novel, who did it? Who done it, as we used to say, slang, meaning we don't know and we wonder and we're curious, more than curious, we're concerned. The suspense is killing me, one expression people say, meaning I'm so curious I'm bursting to know something. To sustain is to keep up, hold up, literally, Latin, again, almost all of these. To sustain one's interest in something is difficult. That is, we become interested in something, but then our interest wanes or dies, and we become interested in something else. Sycophant, good. A sycophant is a subservient, obsequious person who always flatters another person. People in power are always surrounded by sycophants. People who will be ready to say, oh, you're wonderful and everything you say is right, very quickly. No wonder they overestimate their own abilities or intelligence or whatever, or looks. Good word. Synchronize is to make happen at the same time. We synchronize our watches, that is, we set our watches for the same time. We synchronize our efforts so that we do the same thing at the same time. Synonym, of course, is a word which means roughly the same thing as another word. But we must remember there is no such thing as a perfect synonym. Just like two people are not exactly alike, two words are not exactly alike. So these are roughly similar, not identical. Tact is insight into how things work or how people work. For example, if you are very proud of your shirt, and I think your shirt makes you look ridiculous, with tact, if I have tact, I don't say, boy, that's a ridiculous shirt. I say, I'm glad you like your shirt, but perhaps some people won't like your shirt. I'm showing tact. I'm being tactful. So to be tactful means to be considerate and gentle, not rude. Tactile means that which can be touched. Tactile, tact literally means touch in Latin. Tactile can be touched. Tangle means wound up together. My cassettes get tangled sometimes. The strings get tangled. The threads get tangled. Rope gets tangled. My telephone cord gets tangled up. Tardy means late. He was tardy for his appointment. Taunt, good word, even used in sports, means to make fun of, to laugh in the person's face, to say, oh, you are such a fool. This is after the other person has lost. I don't taunt a winner. I taunt a loser, a person who has been defeated. The winner of the presidential election will be very tactless and rude if he taunts the loser, or if anyone else taunts the loser either, because both have fought the good fight in this case, I think. But it's going too far. Technology is simply machinery that becomes more and more technical, can do more and more things, but we do well to remember that there's a distinction between technology and science. Technology is not science. Science literally thinks about things that are important. Technology simply makes little changes, even big changes, in machinery. Tedious is tiresome. A play or a movie can be tedious. A person can be tedious. Talks too much, probably about the same things over and over again. Tenable, that which can be held. A view is tenable if it can be held. A view is untenable if it can't be held. What might it's a tenable view to hold that this American election has been going on for too long. It's an untenable view to hold, for example, the creationism. Creationism, the literal interpretation of Genesis, that is God creating the earth and the world in 7 days, I think is an untenable view. Science isn't perfect, but I find that view untenable. Creationism is the opposite of evolution. Evolution is a tenable view. Creationism is an untenable view. Tenacious, holding on tight to something, not giving up. You must you must study vocabulary tenaciously, not give up. And to repeat Dr. Shin's and my constant reminder, if you're serious, you will always review words that you've done before. You will never simply advance and advance and advance and assume that you will remember what you've done before. Tensile, able to hold something, never used that I know of. Tentative, good word. A tentative agreement is an agreement according to which, okay, let's agree for the moment that this is true, and let's move on with our project. We only agree, our agreement is only tentative though. temporary, a tentative. If he is tentative in his actions, he's not very decisive, hesitant, tentative. Tenuous, good. Tenuous means very similar to tentative, holding, but for some reason not holding very long. Difficult to make that distinction. Tenuous is not very used. Terminal, having an end. A terminal sickness will kill that person. Terminal, having an end. To terminate is to end. To terminate an agreement, we end that agreement. By the way, life is terminal. That is, we die. It has an end. Terrestrial, having to do with this earth. Extraterrestrial, having to do with something outside this earth. Man is a terrestrial animal, but perhaps some days we will travel to other planets, celestial bodies. Testimony is that which we offer, that is, in court, a person offers testimony, that is, if I saw some crime that was committed, I testify in court. My testimony is either accepted or rejected as valid. Therapeutic, having to do with therapy, in modern usage, something, for example, if I can talk about my problems with someone, especially if someone has similar problems, this is, we say, therapeutic, meaning it helps me. A thesis is a hypothesis, is one kind of thesis. A thesis is a point of view that I defend. It's my point of view. It's my idea. The antithesis, we did a long time ago, is the opposite point of view that will disagree with my thesis. People say, it is my thesis that something is going to happen, or something did happen, past or future. And then you present an antithesis, or the opposite view or thing. Thrift. Frugality. If I am thrifty, I don't spend money very often. I save. I am frugal. Thrift is frugality, not spending much money. To thrive is to flourish, to do well. Some people thrive when they live in foreign countries, and some people do not. They miss their homeland too much. Thrust, I thrust my hand into something. That's a verb, VT. That's the most important. Thrust. Now, thrust and thwart, these TH words are usually not Latinate. Now, thesis certainly is Latinate, but thrift is Anglo-Saxon, English, thrive, English, thrust, English, thwart, certainly English, but they're the first ones that I can remember here for a long time. All the others are Latinate. To thwart someone is to prevent that person from succeeding, from doing what he wants to do. He thwarted my attempt to get the attention of the audience. He prevented me from succeeding in my attempt. Timorous is timid, fearful. I'm timorous. If I'm timorous, I'm timid and fearful, not bold. A token, the word is used in modern usage. A token can be a piece of paper or a subway token that is not a coin. I buy a token, I put it in the subway where the machine, I put it in the bus in place of a token is something in place of something else.